You guys will not believe the shocking revelation that has just been unraveled. Africans are being tricked into the Russian army and are being exploited in the Ukraine war. You see, since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, a shocking narrative has unfolded. Hundreds of Africans have been lured into the Russian army under false promises. Instead of the lucrative jobs which they left their countries to find, these Africans find themselves on the front line of a brutal war, subjected to exploitation and dangerous missions. This grim reality is not just a story of war, but one of human trafficking, deception, and human rights abuses. For many like Samuel from Congo, the journey begins with hope and ambition. Tired of low-paying jobs and seeking better opportunities, they are promised well-paid work in Russia. In Samuel's case, he was assured a caretaker job with tasks like cleaning and cooking. But upon arrival, the truth unraveled. A Kalashnikov rifle was placed in his hands instead of the broom which he expected, and he was thrust into combat with minimal training and no knowledge of the terms of his employment. This is not one isolated case. There are many others. Reports from Ghana, Sierra Leone, and other African nations reveal a similar pattern. Recruiters promise safety and prosperity but deliver danger and despair, with passports confiscated and contracts signed under duress. So what actually happens in the front line of this exploitation? Once enlisted, African recruits are often sent to one of the most dangerous missions, clearing the minefields, or launching direct assaults and enduring heavy fire. Samuel in this case described how his unit bore the brunt of the fighting while Russian soldiers remained in safer positions. The casualties among these recruits are staggering, with no backup and limited equipment to face drones, mines, and relentless attacks. What's worse is that these recruits face threats of torture or execution if they attempt to retreat. Some, desperate to escape the nightmare, resort to self-harm, shooting themselves in the hand just to avoid being sent back to the front lines. The exploitation of African recruits is part of a larger web of human rights abuses. Soldiers from diverse nations, including Nepal, Cuba, and others, have been coerced or deceived into joining Russian military forces. Intermediary groups promise large salaries, but the reality is often forced combat under false pretenses. Governments, including those in Central African Republic, have condemned these actions, particularly targeting the Wagner Group, which is a Russian paramilitary organization implicated in recruiting and exploiting foreign mercenaries. Yet, the plight of many of these recruits remains unheard or unresolved. So pretty much the situation is getting quite bad, every day as it goes. As the conflict drags on, more and more Africans find themselves trapped in a war that isn't theirs. And to make it worse, the international community has largely ignored their plea, leaving recruits like Samuel to speak out against the injustices they face. He urges his fellow Africans to stay vigilant, warning them of the grim reality that awaits in Russia. In his words, Samuel said, "We are not coming here to fight for Russia. We are coming here to die for a war we don't understand." Just take that in for a moment. And if you're thinking of going to Russia, think twice, be careful, ask yourself, is this really worth it, and is it genuine? The stories of Samuel and countless others reveal a grim exploitation that demands global attention. These recruits are not only victims of deception, but pawns in a geopolitical conflict, fighting battles they never chose. This is not just a war story, it's a human story. A cry for justice and accountability in a world that cannot afford to turn a blind eye. What will it take for the world to recognize and act on this exploitation? And more importantly, what will Africa do about it? What will Africans do about it? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. See you guys on the next one.